Let's talk about Huke then. He was one of the main men of that Dallas Empire winning side last season. He looked to be the best player in the game in Cold War, and then the news broke late last night that it was going to be Huke in and TJ Halley out for the LA Thieves in what must have been an extremely expensive deal for the 100 Thieves organization, and we're going to break down exactly where we're looking to see Huke pick up TJ's slack, as well as the kind of player that they're going to get. In Stage 1, Huke completely took over the game and was spoken about as the best player. Then in Stage 2, he was a bit quieter and people spoke about how he had really fallen off. But all things considered, when we look across the entire season, Huke still has the third highest hardpoint KD for an SMG in the game. Compare that to TJ Halley, and he's touching the bottom of the board thereabouts, looking really weak in those respawns in particular. When it comes to the Search and Destroy KD, well, TJ Halley does have a slight edge onto Huke, but again, let's remember that Stage 2 really wasn't his stage. He really struggled, and actually one of the places here where Huke can help improve the Thieves is going to be in the First Blood department, because he's much better at winning those First Blood engagements if he does get involved in them. Whilst in the Control, it is again relatively neck and neck between the two players, Huke having that slight edge here, both players just underneath that even mark, and this is again across that entire season. And for me, looking across those statistics, you would sit and think, okay, well, the one place in which we're going to see Huke benefit the team is going to be in that hard point, but otherwise it's relatively neck and neck. But for me, it's whether they can bring Stage 1 Huke back out, because he, in that kind of form, is absolutely unstoppable. He puts up some incredible slaying figures and could really help improve the Thieves, who currently have just above an even win record in all three modes. They don't have a particular mode that they are taking over, something that top contenders need to do, and I think Huke can certainly help them do that, especially in those hard points. So what is it then that the LA Thieves are going to get out of Huke? Well, the first thing that Huke brings is his positioning. He's extremely intelligent, and as an SMG, what he likes to do is get aggressive and make the opposition uncomfortable, force them into one lane attacks, and not allow the opposition to get out and set up any sort of attack line or defense strategy, and force them to play his team's game, not the other way around. The second thing that Huke really does bring to the table is some top tier movement, the kind of thing that is brought over by players who used to be in Halo, who love the way that they can get around the map in Call of Duty, and Huke here is no exception. He shows in this clip the idea of rotating to another hill. Now, that's not necessarily groundbreaking, but it's the way he does it and when he does it. In this game in particular, when we broke it down, he was rotating 22.5 seconds before the next hill popped, showing just how early he's thinking, okay, we need to chain this hill with this hill. And not only that, where he rotates through is super important. He goes through the northern containers, and the fact that he does this shows his intelligence around the spawn system and how to control it, because by going through the top end of the map here, he applies enough pressure that even though he does fall, he does die in this clip, he gets the spawn in for his teammate, and this gives them control over that very, very important P2 money hill. And finally is his slaying power. Now, we have spoken about how he does have a better respawn KD than TJ Halley, the man that he's going to replace, but it's not necessarily about his KD that is so important here. It is the way in which he goes about getting his kills. When his team are on the defensive, he pushes out. As I've said, he breaks up those attack plans, he throttles areas of entry into hills and just makes it very difficult for his team to even worry about having the hill contested. Meanwhile, if they're on the offense, his movement allows him to do some really, really special stuff and get in and around places and just ensure that the defense never get properly set up. They're never actually ready for an attack wave that comes in from the Dallas Empire. Overall, what I do think here is that we are looking at an LA Thieves team that are at risk of being a serious dark horse for title contenders. You've got Kenny on that main AR, Huke as one of your big SMGs, and those two as a pairing is dangerous enough. You've then got Venom and Draza, two young guns who are very hungry and proving right now that they have what it takes. I mean, they only lost in the Game 5 to Atlanta FaZe. They walked Optic Chicago out of the door, and I really do think that going into this next major, if this move has the impact that we want it to do, if they get that Stage 1 Huke, they're looking very, very dangerous.